Yo, what's up? I can do a VOD review for you. First of all, amazing skin. You got the, what is that, the iridescent with the galactic weapons. It looks so good, actually. But yeah, I can do a VOD review for you. I am typically, I do have some hours on Joker Queen, but most of my hours are on Ball and Malga. But playing tank is generally all kind of the same with the heroes. It's just like cooldown management and stuff. And I've hit Diamond 3 with tank. So I always say this in my videos, I'm not the best player. I'm going to give you advice on what has worked for me, and if anyone else has better advice, please let me know. But yeah, let's see what's going on. I don't know what that Widow was doing. She is way out of position. Not a terrible shout, but just watch it again real quick. A lot of Queen stuff is like all about how you use her shout. I would have maybe tried to go in a little deeper and axed. Yeah. I would have like tried to shout. Would have like shouted, and then like instead of like taking this like really wide angle, I would have like walked right here and then just like axed the Ramatra maybe. Or try to get some squishies, but not a terrible shout. I'd like to see you shoot not the tank as much. I know in 66 it's like kind of the right play. Ooh, that was scary. Okay. He was low. Nice. Yeah, like that Freya was like... Is that how you say your name, Freya? Freya? Who was like frontlining there. I would have been shooting her instead of the Ramatra, and I chased that kill. She faded out. Yeah. She faded behind you, so like you could hear that. All good though. All good. Your shouts aren't bad, but when you shout, I'd like to see you like go for an axe as well. Like shout and like run at the enemies and axe. You're doing it like a little late, I think. But you're at least like shouting and then like walking towards the enemy, which is good. Don't hate that, but instead of shooting the Ramatra, you're shooting the Ramatra here, and then their Kuriko was like killing them from like in here by themselves. I would have just completely ignored the Ramatra and like gone after the support. If you can actually go for the support rather than the tank, and you can do it without taking a ton of damage and like make it out alive, I would do that instead. But not terrible. Nice. Good shout. Dude, these guys are just feeding. Nice. So in your post you say it goes super well in the beginning, which, yeah, you're doing really good. And then it says some instances of dumb decisions on defense, so I guess we'll get to that and look at that. But overall you wanted to see what you could do better. I farmed so much in the first round, but barely pulled anything off in the second. Okay, so it seems like a lot of maybe the problems you're experiencing are with defense. So we can go over that. Great axe. I would ult. But nice. That was okay, so you were just waiting out the Suzu. That's a good ult. And then the Sigma's in there. There's no health pack in there either, so he's just gonna be low. Not bad. Also, like, yeah, it's not terrible, but it's like you killed the Sigma there, and then like the Kuriko is just like still like I'm pretty sure just standing like right next to you. So like you killed the Sigma, and then yeah, the Kiri is just like right here. So I think instead of like going for that Bastion, like my instinct is always go for supports. If a support is killable, like I always go for them. And like you didn't even look at the Kuriko, so like that's just something to think about as well. Like shoot the Kuriko, you know, like you just like don't even look at her. Like she's like standing by herself, but all good.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
What's going on here? There we go.
That is it. Run with the lightning. Your thick.
Man, the iridescent looks good. The galactic. I gotta get that shit on Reaper. I like shooting the squishies.
Feel better?
I'm running and then I'm gonna fucking axe. There you go, yeah.
That's how you bring fire to the mortal.
Just like shout and then like run at them, axe, and like try to axe like squishies, which seems like you're doing a pretty good job at.
My payload's moving. Pile on.
New Vangada! Some lightning in it.
Nice.
You don't play with carnage. Always wanted one of you in my collection.
I love, like, this point is always so funny because people just stagger. Like, they're just all staggering really badly.
Time for a thunderstorm.
Yeah, nice.
The pallets are gonna love this. No time for whinging. Move out.
Bro, that Freya has died like 3 times on the
I
point.
have the payload.
Nice, yeah, you're just cleaning up.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
What is this Bastion doing? He just walked right past you. Bro, that's crazy. You just killed everyone twice. Nice. So yeah, it seems like we'll get to defense. I'm assuming what's happening maybe is that you maybe overextend, which is easy to do on defense, but I could be wrong.
For all the deals.
I personally like defense more just because like you don't need to set up as much. Like you kind of just like you do have to set up a little bit, but especially with like ball, like you kind of just wait. You wait for them to walk in and then like you strike, you know? So like it could just be something like as simple as that. Dude, May players, I swear, have brain damage.
Where's my thunderbolt?
You die? Holy shit. That's crazy. Oh yeah, axe her.
No one can stop.
Good.
I have the payload. Everyone relax. Time for a thunderstorm.
Nice, and the Kiri's dead. Good ult.
Let's go win this thing.
Yeah, not a whole lot to talk about on attack. I'm just kind of looking at stuff. The only thing I really think about, just watching the short time I've watched you, is like sometimes like you'll be shooting the tank when like there's a squishy that is attainable, and then sometimes you take, sometimes like in the beginning you were shouting, but like you weren't like going in and axing, and then sometimes it takes you just a second to like react to like a support being in front of you, but that's fine. That will just come with time.
My payload's moving.
I like that you at least like use your shout aggressively though. That is nice. Because I watched someone's review and like they like shouted and like wouldn't do anything. It was like really annoying. All right, let's see. So you guys cap. I'm gonna skip ahead. Okay, so you guys don't full cap, but that's okay. Okay. Let's watch the defense. So before I even watch anything, I don't know what you're gonna do, but this defense in higher ranks, a lot of time your team is gonna set up here. Your DPS and your supports will set up here. And then like depending on like what kind of tank you are, you know, like even with Malga and Ball, I always like to start up here. Because that way if enemy DPS come up this way, I can be hiding here and contest them, and then you can usually get a free kill. And then also you can like sit up here and like shoot down at them. Even as queen with your shotgun, you can like poke. Being down here is just not great. I don't know if this is where you're gonna like see where like Orisa is. Like this is where like you should be, but like over here. But yeah, let's watch and see.
Attackers incoming.
Like I like this positioning, but like do it on the high ground.
No time for whinging. Move out.
So you're going in a bit deep. You do get the kill, but you're like really far. Yeah, just you're just super far. Also, another thing that I just want to go over real quick is that like at first like you play up here, right, and you let them poke a little bit, or like you poke them a little bit, and then like once the cart gets about here and, like you're shooting down at them, then like they start pushing the cart like under this bridge. Once it's under the bridge, it's past the bridge rather, I usually drop and like play this corner, you know, if I'm like a ground tank, and I'll like kind of like peek like this way and like just play this corner, get a kill, and like and then sometimes like I'll come back up here and like try to get like a flank kill. Like like you could totally like be up here, shout, like going for like a crazy axe on these guys, and then like run away to like the mega under here, you know. But again, I don't know what you're gonna do, so like you should be dead here because you're discorded. So target prioritization there, like I would have gone for the like 4 other people that weren't Orisa, just because. Let's watch this again. You're doing this, by the way, in front of a Bastion who's turreting. So I'm going for this Zen. Instead of like axing this Orisa, like I'm shouting and I'm like going at this Zen. Because this Zen's killable. The Orisa isn't. They have their cooldowns. So check your prioritization. Like yeah. Like you're going for the tank here and it's just not good. Yeah. So off the bat on defense, target prioritization and positioning. I know it sounds weird like playing high ground as queen because like you're short range, you're like a brawly tank. But it's always better to like start on the high ground because you can always drop down, right? If you're on the low ground, it's harder to get on the high ground. And especially on that corner, it's really easy to hold high ground, drop down, get a kill, go back high ground, like that kind of thing. So just something to think about. Decent shell, maybe, yeah, poke out the diva. So also something just going over. I'm always thinking about where the supports are as a tank, right? Supports are my enemy. I hate them. I hate these supports because they keep everyone else alive. My main goal as tank is to always kill the supports, even to like, maybe it's even like bad, you know, I don't know. But like this, again, this is why I'm like, if it's bad advice, someone share better advice. But with that said, like, just pay attention to where the supports are, you know? They're kind of unattainable. But Zen is very easy to like walk on in a way. So I don't know. Let's see what happens here. 1 second. Why is this happening? So you seem kind of lost. So let's go over that.
Try climbing that.
So you're coming out. Bam. So immediately, you know, if we're recontesting, because usually you only have like 1 or 2 fights on this point. So if I'm coming back, especially as like a ground tank or a Malga, like, I think what you do here is fine. You shout, like you force out the diva, right? You miss an axe, but that's okay. And then like you kind of get lost. If you like, you're like looking behind. I guess you're like looking to see like where your team is. So right here, I wouldn't have ever repeated the Bastion. I know he kind of like peeks the corner, but I would have just like ran away basically. Just like prioritize your life there. But yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do when he peeks the corner. But yeah, let's see.
That's no way to treat your queen.
Let's group up.
Hey there. Taking off.
Looking at their comp, my main goal would be trying to kill the Zen. Okay. So not horrible setting up here. I don't know why you used your shout. I'm thinking maybe you used it to like give your teammates health. Which I guess like isn't horrible, but let's look. It is kind of a waste, so I mean they're full health. I would never do that. I think that using your shout like that isn't that good. You always want to use your shout like selfishly and aggressively. For the most part, you know. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. I think you were just peeking the Bastion. Again, you seem kind of confused. Yeah, like, number 1 role against Bastion is when he's turret mode, literally never look at him. Because he will just kill you. So, yeah. Bastion's like a really bad hero, too. Because, like, you just wait for him to turn, and then he's pretty much killable. That's unfortunate. Does he switch, or is he just throwing? It's alright. Maybe a misclick. But yeah, so far in defense, you do seem a bit lost. Like, you don't know what to do. Again, just you guys got ulted. You can't do much there, but
Stay near the immortality field.
Nothing personal, kid.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Personal kid.
that particular fight, there's not much you can do because you guys got ulted coming out. So there's not much. That's just unfortunate, you know. Okay, poking out the diva. Here, I'm walking up to the point, right? And then I'm gonna start contesting it a little. I like you're playing cover. Don't peek the Bastion at all.
Time for a thunderstorm.
Into the iris.
Love how that Zen ulted. It's pretty funny to me. That wasn't a bad ult, by the way. That was like a pretty decent ult. But yeah.
Payload is
So
approaching its destination.
they just kind of have a better like front line, I think. And then like Discord is fucking you up. And you do seem like a little hesitant on defense on like what to do, but one thing I also kind of want to note it is that coming out of spawn, when you're this close to the point, like I know you want to get back fast, I would just save my shout for when you're like in the battle, you know? Because now you don't have it for 12 seconds and you're fighting. So, yeah, target prioritization. Like, you're kind of just shooting the big tank in front of you, which I don't know if you saw, but there's a squishy up here. And like even when you like first came out,
Forward barrier.
so like you're kind of shooting at these guys. Not terrible, but there is like a person up here. So it's just like just kind of pay attention to like what's killable, you know? Like both the Orisa and Bastion are like being healed. I don't know. I'd just be shooting them.
I'm on fire.
But yeah, I like your use of cover here. They're all kind of just playing back. Not a terrible shout, but if you can't engage on an enemy and like you aren't low, then there's not really a reason to shout, you know? So just be careful about that. Like if you aren't about to die, then like just use your shout aggressively. Like that's a good shout because you're low, you know? Yeah. It is also kind of, so their comp is like very pokey. You know, like they have Zen, they have Faria, they have Orisa. I like that you're shooting at the Zen. Nice, so you get the Zen. That would be my target pretty much every fight is the Zen. And then do they cap here?
No, come here.
So just off the bat, watching that on defense, the main thing is positioning and then also just kind of being like a little bit passive with your passive and then also just like confused on defense. Like it seemed like you would like have like a good position, but then like you just kind of stand there and like look around at your team. I don't know if you're like looking to see like where they were in relation to you, but like for instance on second point, like right here, like you have like a really good setup and like instead of like standing here AFK,
I'm taking off.
like I would be either on this diva pushing her out or running up on that Bastion, to be honest. Like you're kind of just sitting here for some reason and like it's just yeah, and then you shout and like you waste your shout. So like you waste your big cooldown and you like give them like 15 seconds of just like you doing nothing, right? I would be doing something here. Instead of like standing here and like looking at your team and like making sure they're all right, like Tink's job isn't to like make sure your team is like always safe, right? It's to make space for them. And right now you're giving the enemy team a lot of space. The Arista's walking your high ground right now, right? Like you're hiding behind this corner. I would like be up here, like shooting it down at them, right? While all that's happening. Shooting at the Bastion, because he's AFK, shooting at the Zen. So that's one thing on the second point. And it kind of like gives them the point for free, because I don't think you guys can retouch. You shout, and then now you can't really engage.
Nothing personal.
And you give time for the Orisa to walk up, and then you peek the Bastion and die. So, yeah, that's one thing. So, like, positioning, cooldown management wasn't terrible, but on defense, it was questionable. When you shout, you want to use it selfishly, and you always want to use it to engage on an enemy. Let's look at the other. And then here, I think you guys get Freya ulted, which there's not, like, a lot you can do about. Like, shouting out like that isn't terrible. Yeah, you guys just get Freya ulted. And I know you're like stunned when that happens, so that's just unfortunate. And then this last point. This is a good shout. You're getting the diva out. So here, I think you maybe give them too much space. I'm coming in here. where your bash, where your Reaper and your, wow, what is that? And your Diva is. I'm probably just playing up here and poking and shooting down at them for a little bit. I think on defense, it's like your positioning is like you kind of give too much space here, right? Like I'd be playing where your Reaper is. And like again, like you're just shooting the tank, so it's like it's not super good. Like after you like force the Diva out, I would walk over here and I would have been shooting here, you know. So positioning, target prioritization. It's also kind of just like a comp diff a little bit. Like you can win on any comp, but like
Time for a thunderstorm.
this was a good ult. They just had a better like poke. They had like Bastion, Zen, Orisa, Freya. And like you just gave too much space to where like you're never gonna win that battle, you know? Like you're never gonna win like fighting from this distance. Like against this comp, like hold on. Where was it? Okay, so like you force her out, blah blah blah. Like here, like you should have gone like over there, but instead like you back up and like you play this corner against like a poke comp. Like you play this corner against Bastion, Orisa, Zen, and Freya. Like you're never gonna win that. You need to like your whole like shtick as queen is that you have big burst damage. You shout and then you get in and you axe them. Play with where your Reaper is next time, especially against poke heroes. It is risky, but like that's the only way you're gonna win against this comp. They just win the poke battle basically.
Time for a
That was a good ult. The Zen wasted their ult, which is funny. But you guys do just end up getting poked out. So yeah, target prioritization, using your cooldowns right, and then just like realizing when like they have better poke like this, and like you're a queen, right? Like your effective range is like 15 meters, maybe even less than that. So like learning how to position yourself at about that distance to get value. All in all, not terrible. Kind of just like these games happen, you know. But those are like the two things I would work on defense is like positioning high ground and like using your cooldowns to engage on the enemy better. And I think that you'll find success with that. So I hope this is helpful. Again, if anyone has better advice, let me know. Let the player know. But yeah, all in all, not terrible. But just focus on those two things and you should be solid.